What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex. You watching the Marvel edition of the Ragin Nation show? That's right, you heard right. This is the Marvel edition of the Ragin Nation show. This is just a web series where we're talking about all things that matter to me in the world of Marvel movies. You know, with all the Marvel films that are coming out over the last couple of years and the movies that are coming out, you know, in the next couple of years, this is a really exciting time for us comic book fans, comic book nerds, because Marvel's really dominating the film industry and the entertainment industry. They're just everywhere. And this is what excites us as film goers. We love to see this sort of thing. And I decided that I'm going to make a web series just dedicated to all the Marvel stories, or rather the Marvel production updates that is happening. Alright, so that's why you're going to want to stay subscribed to this channel, because we're going to cover all the stuff, all the news updates for all the upcoming Marvel movies. Not just from Marvel Studios, but also Sony with regards to the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, and also 20th Century Fox's X-Men franchise, and also Fantastic Four. So, the first thing we got to talk about is that there is some movement with the production of the Wolverine 2. Not that anything is going on right now, but director James Mangold actually is going to start planning to shoot the Wolverine 2 after Hugh Jackman is done with X-Men Apocalypse, directed by Bryan Singer. So that just means that the character of the Wolverine, played by Hugh Jackman, is going to have the longest running history as a comic book character a comic book movie character in film. Okay, Wolverine will have been played by Hugh Jackman, I think, 10 times. If my memory serves me right, I think it's 10 times. That is intense. And I can't think of anybody else playing Wolverine except for Hugh Jackman. So that's pretty exciting news. And that is the fact that the Wolverine 2 is actually happening right after X-Men Apocalypse, alright? So moving on, let's talk about another Marvel property from 20th Century Fox, and that is Fantastic Four. As you already know, the reboot is happening, and we already announced the cast for the Fantastic Four. Well, let's talk about the villain for Fantastic Four, and the classic villain, the arch nemesis of the Fantastic Four, is of course Doctor Doom. So we're going to see Doctor Doom again in this reboot. We already saw him in the first version, and well, they already have a bunch of candidates, and it's shortlisted to Sam Riley, who was in On the Road, Eddie Redmayne, who was in Les Miserables, Toby Kebbell from Wrath of the Titans, and also Domhnall Gleeson from About Time. So, while I don't recognize any of these actors, I will say that Doctor Doom has been confirmed as the arch nemesis in Fantastic Four, the reboot. Alright, so now let's move along and talk about Sony, what's going on with Sony, and of course Sony is the distributor for the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, and Mark Webb decided that he's not going to be directing a fourth Amazing Spider-Man film. But the story of Peter Parker will continue, and of course it will span over, you know, with the Sinister Six movies. But Mark Webb not being a director is a pretty big deal. However, he still might serve as some sort of creative consultant or a producer in the fourth installment. Now, what's also very interesting is that Andrew Garfield also mentioned that he may or may not do a fourth Spider-Man film. Like, that's just, you know, like, unconfirmed right now, but he did mention that maybe a third time is just all he wants to do. So, who knows? That's all up in the air, but Mark Webb is definitely not directing a fourth Spider-Man film. Now, speaking of The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the studios have posted a bunch of new photos, new images from the movie, and that includes new shots of Green Goblin, and also Rhino, a full shot of Rhino. We finally get to see him, and I posted all those photos at the Ragin Nation Facebook page. There's a photo album for them, so go check it out, alright? Now let's talk about what's in store for us from Marvel Studios. Let's talk about some actor contracts. This is something that's very interesting to me, and I think that this is an aspect of this is an aspect of the production that some people overlook, but it's really quite a big deal, and that is actor contracts, okay? First, let's start off with Chris Evans. Chris Evans actually signed on for 6 films. He's signed on to play Captain America 6 times, and it does not include his cameo in Thor: The Dark World, okay? Sorry if I spoiled that for people who haven't watched the Thor: The Dark World, but it doesn't include his cameo in Thor: The Dark World. It does in fact include films that we already know exist and are going to exist, and that is Captain America, the first Avenger, Avengers, the upcoming Captain America Winter Soldier, the upcoming Age of Ultron, Captain America 3, yes, I said it, Captain America 3 is happening, and of course, the Avengers 3. So we already know which 6 films they are, and he signed on for all of them. So very, very exciting. I love the character of Captain America, and I think that Chris Evans playing Steve Rogers is perfect, so I can't wait to see him more. Now, this is also very interesting. Another Chris is signed on for a couple more films. And that is Chris Pratt, who plays Star-Lord, or Star-Lord. I forgot his actual name. Something Quills. Peter Quills? I don't know. But anyways, he's from Guardians of the Galaxy. He signed on for a multi-picture deal. Now, there's no word on the exact number, but he signed on for a multi-picture deal, provided that Guardians of the Galaxy is a success. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that we can expect to see a Guardians of the Galaxy sequel or sequels right away. But if there is a sequel, he definitely has to be in it because he is part of that contract, or that is what's stated in the contract. So very, very interesting that Guardians of the Galaxy is not potentially going to be just a standalone film. All right, it really depends on the success. Now, Mark Ruffalo is also signed on for a 6-picture deal, and what's very interesting is that it doesn't include, like, so far there's no plans to make a Hulk solo movie. It's been suggested in the past where they could go with the story of a solo Hulk film, but they have made no confirmed plans for a Hulk solo movie. So far, that this 6-picture deal only refers to him appearing in the Avengers films and also possibly appearing in other Marvel solo character films, like, for example, a Thor movie or a Captain America movie. You know, he could appear in those films, but so far there's no plans for a solo Hulk film. Now let's talk about Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. has played Iron Man. Okay, there's been 3 Iron Man movies. Okay, but he's also played Iron Man in the Avengers. He's also signed on for, of course, Avengers Age of Ultron and another Avengers film. So technically speaking, he signed on for 2 more appearances as Tony Stark / Iron Man, and that would be that would be Avengers Age of Ultron and Avengers 3, but there's no plans for a solo Iron Man film. He actually talked about this in a previous interview. He mentioned that he's ready to retire the Iron Man suit in the Iron Man film. He thinks he's done a lot, but he likes working with the team. So he will be in the Avengers trilogy. Very, very exciting. Now, there's no details about Chris Hemsworth's contracts or Scarlett Johansson's contracts or Jeremy Renner's contracts. All those are unknown. But what's very, very interesting is that Sebastian Stan, who plays the Winter Soldier, is actually signed on for a 9-picture deal with Marvel Studios, which actually matches the contract of Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson's got an easy job, okay? He just shows up in the movie. He just appears in the movie, and that's his 9-contract deal as Nick Fury. Now, just like Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy, it doesn't necessarily mean that Sebastian Stan we're guaranteed to see him in 9 more films. It doesn't mean that there's going to be 9 Winter Soldier films. It just means that if they are going to make a couple more films, he has to be in it. That's what his contract states. All right, so we can expect to see him some more, but it all depends on the success of the Winter Soldier. Now, let's talk about the Avengers and the shooting of Avengers. As you already know, Avengers Age of Ultron's production is already underway, and they are shooting tomorrow in Seoul. Well, not tomorrow, but today. You're going to probably be watching this today on March 20th. To April 12th. They're going to be shooting in Seoul, which is actually really cool because I like the fact that they're going to exotic places, just like how Transformers Age of Extinction goes to Hong Kong and China. Well, Avengers Age of Ultron is going to Seoul in Korea, and it's going to be like a 22-day shoot. So a huge sequence is going to take place in Korea. Very, very cool. All right, now let's talk about super producer Kevin Feige, and he was in an interview, and he was talking about Doctor Strange And Doctor Strange is a very, very interesting character in the Marvel universe, the Marvel comic book universe, because he uses magic. Okay, he's a magician. He's a super magician. All right. Now, how's that going to translate in the Marvel universe? Because the Marvel universe, as far as they've gone in terms of fantasy, they've gone to the Thor universe. That's in terms of fantasy, but there hasn't been any form of magic. Okay, they've brought in the Mandarin, but he used illusion. Okay, they didn't actually necessarily use magic. And then all the superheroes have some sort of technology, or they drank a super serum to make them the way they are today, or they've been exposed to radiation. And if there's anything out of this world, it'd be from an alien universe, like the Chitauri. And with regards to Thor, well, he has those powers because he's a god. But there's never been any magic in the Marvel Avengers universe, or even the Marvel universe, all right? So how are they going to put in magic for Doctor Strange, and how are they going to connect it with the Avengers universe? Well, magic still will not be prevalent in the Avengers universe, because they're going to change things up. They decided that, Kevin Feige mentioned that they're going to make Doctor Strange work in this universe because he's going to be like a super scientist. He's going to be a scientist. They're going to stray away from the magician route and go towards the science route, kind of like Tony Stark. Okay, like he's a builder. He uses technology. Well, they're going to go with science in the new Doctor Strange, the upcoming Doctor Strange movie. How do you guys feel about that? I mean, I think some of you guys will feel the same way you felt with regards to how they screwed up the Mandarin. All right. Well, the Mandarin used magic. Magic is a form of illusion. That's essentially what it is. And Mandarin used illusion in Iron Man 3. All right? So, I don't have a problem with that. As long as it has some sort of continuity with the universe, I'm cool. Okay? And speaking of the Avengers, Joss Whedon actually directed one of the post-credit sequences in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Now, if you remember, we've been getting a lot of, or multiple credit sequences. We get the mid-credit sequence, and then we get the post-credit sequences, which is at the very, very end of the credits. Okay? So there's going to be 2 credit sequences in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, just like there has been in Thor: The Dark World and the Avengers. Okay? And Joss Whedon directed one of those sequences. Okay, so that's something you definitely want to check out. And the last thing I want to talk about is, speaking of Kevin Feige, actually, they just announced, and this is the biggest news of them all. This is the news that I have to really be like really excited about. Not excited, but I think this is big news in general. Kevin Feige announced that Captain America 3 will not only just be directed by the same directors as Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Joe and Anthony Russo, but it will go up against DC's biggest film, and that is Batman vs. Superman, which comes out on May 6, 2016. Okay, Batman and Superman, directed by Zack Snyder from Warner Brothers Studios and DC Comics, is going to be released on May 6, 2016, and Kevin Feige, the super producer from Marvel Studios, announced that Captain America 3 is going to go head-to-head with Batman vs. Superman on that exact same day. They're going to play chicken with Batman vs. Superman and Warner Brothers Studios and Zack Snyder. There's going to be some serious rivalry there, and they want to see if Batman and Superman is going to budge. They're playing chicken. This is huge, okay? This is 2 big comic book franchises going up against each other. 2 big competing rival studios going up against each other. And we're going to see who's going to budge, okay? And this has never been done before. Ever. Okay? These are 2 big movies. 2 big franchises, and we're talking about a lot of box office dollars. And with them having them open on the same day, okay? One of them is going to lose box office dollars because it's all about the opening weekend, okay? Unless you're hardcore and you watch one of them on Friday and one of them on Saturday, or both on the same day, I know I'm going to watch both of them, okay? But it's all about that opening weekend and how much that opening weekend makes the studio, okay? So Do you think any of them are going to budge? Do you think that Warner Brothers is going to budge? Do you think that Kevin Feige made a mistake on opening Captain America 3 on May 6, 2016? Let me know in the comments section below. This is chicken in the biggest possible way, all right? So who knows what's going to happen? I'm excited. I'm really, really excited about what could possibly be the biggest weekend in movie history. Okay, so there you have it. That's all I gotta say in this video. This is, of course, the Marvel edition of the Ragin Nation show. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you want to know more updates about upcoming Marvel movies. And also, hit like on the Ragin Nation Facebook page because I have all the concept art from Marvel posted in a photo album along with some of the new still images from Sony's The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Alright, there you have it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name is Alex Yu. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace. It's really poor storytelling. And also, Shailene Woodley, I think she was miscast. I don't think she's the right actor for the